Hey everyone. All right, so welcome to my vlog. Today's topic is going to be about two things that I think are super important in my practice. They come up all the time, but I think in life in general, they're things that we need to be a little bit more mindful of. And the two topics are worry and fear. All right, so let's talk about that a little bit. Worry and fear. First off, it's really important to recognize worry and fear aren't real. They're not real. You make it up in your head. Worry and fear are ideas that you put in your head. You tell yourself they're real. And so in that way, they are kind of real. You make it real. But it's not really real. It doesn't exist in the outside world. It only exists in your head. When I was in the Marine Corps, I remember one time we were doing something. We were on we were in Thailand. We were on this operation, and this guy that I was with was telling this other guy, "Oh, I'm really worried that this thing is not going to happen or that thing's not going to happen." And the officer looked at him and he said, "Sergeant," he said, "listen, can you do something about this episode or whatever the thing was to affect the outcome, to make sure it happens properly?" And the sergeant said, "Yeah, I can." He goes, "Good. Then don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Now, what about these other things that are going on over here? Can you do anything about those things to affect the outcome?" And he said, "No." He said, "Great. Then don't worry about those." In other words, don't worry. Don't worry either way. What you can do stuff about, do. What you can't, don't. And then fear. Fear is kind of that other thing. We create fear. You look at things that people are fearful of. Some people are fearful of heights. Other people are not, though, right? So the people that aren't fearful of heights, what is their brain doing, or what is their mind telling themselves about heights that people who are afraid of heights aren't doing? How is it the opposite? And so this idea of sort of seeking out opposites in life and seeking out those challenges, those things that you think, I don't like this, I don't like that, there's a reason, right? And it's mental. Right? In reality, there isn't anything that you don't like or not like. It's all made up in your head, right? You've decided you didn't like this or you didn't like that. Culture has helped you decide you don't like this. Education helped you. Something about it, right? But in reality, you can always change your mind. You can change your mind about anything. And so back to worry and fear. In public speaking, worry and fear often dominate the conversation with people. Excuse me. They have worry about what they're going to talk about. They have worry about whether the audience is going to relate to them. They're fearful about these same topics. They have this insane fear of being in front of people, messing up, having people judge them or whatever it is. And so they let that become a part of their experience. And so you talk to them about it like, how do you feel about public speaking? They say, "Oh, I hate it. I hate it. I'm so afraid of it. I get worried." They've talked themselves into this mindset of fear, of worry, and it's not real. It's absolutely not real. You have to face fear and address it head on and ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? What is the worst case scenario? Can I do anything about it? Because as you know, in life, things are always happening, good things and bad things, and they always happen whether you want them to or not, right? So the worst case scenario, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen, but there's no point in worrying about it. All you can do is adjust and adapt and move forward to life and to the situation that presents itself. Whether it's the one you want, whether it's the one you don't want, is irrelevant. But worrying about it is a massive waste of energy, right? Being fearful of it, massive waste of your energy. I do a lot of hot yoga, and hot yoga has taught me a lot about this. If you've ever done a yoga class, you know a normal yoga class can be difficult and can be stressful and can be hard on your body and create those little moments in your mind where you're saying, "Oh, I don't like this, I want out of this." Well, at about 15, 20, 30 degrees temperature in like 110, 115 degree room with a really strict, disciplined 26 pose series, that little voice in your head is going to be screaming the whole time. "It's too hot. I don't like this. This hurts. Why am I here? I hope she opens the door. The humidity's too," etc., etc. If you don't learn to control that voice, and if you don't learn to realize that voice in your head is something you're choosing, you're putting it there. I was putting it there in the beginning. I hated it in the beginning. I hated hot yoga. I was always saying those things. And finally, I had this moment of clarity after months and months and months where I realized I was doing this to myself. No one else was punishing me. The room wasn't punishing me. My yoga mat wasn't punishing me. The instructor wasn't. I was punishing myself with this voice. Once you learn to calm that voice, control that voice, your whole life changes. Everything gets better. But step one is recognizing worry and fear are irrational. You make them up. Start facing them. Start dealing with them. And as soon as you do, life gets better. Have a good one.